Welcoming Addicts. Thank you for joining me here to talk about my book, Why Did Sally Relapse? The Answer from Higher Power by Darlene M. Grant. I'm your host. If you are an addict struggling in addiction and you've been praying to be set free, or have loved ones caught up in addiction, or perhaps you would just like to understand the plight of an addict, I want to talk to you. I want you to first understand that if you're an addict, God loves you. God loves the addict. He loves the person. He loves you. He doesn't love the addiction, but he loves you. And you're not alone. Addicts all over the world are crying out to God in prayer because they want to be set free. There are a lot of addicts that hate using, but for that ever-present urge to use, they are powerless. The active ingredients in the drugs and addiction spirits spring forth to bring about death and destruction. The spirits that strive with these drugs are takeover spirits. So because the urge to use has the strength of a satanic beast, addicts can only choose to use. Addicts can't serve God until the addiction is removed. But I want you to know God hears your prayers and your cries because there is a relationship between God and the addict. So God is staging an intervention in order to graft addicts into the plan of salvation. He is allowing addicts to taste their freedom from addiction, and at the same time, God is giving them their power of choice back so that they may freely choose Him. God is leveling the playing field because without this intervention from God, addicts would die in their addiction. You will learn later how God calls addicts out of addiction. This power to kill an addiction requires a relationship. That urge to use is cunning. The higher power is a spirit and is the only power greater than man that can restore man to himself before addiction and reach into his life and change it. It's God's spirit in you that is the only power to stop that trigger. The relationship with the higher power is the catalyst to a successful recovery. God is a spirit, and this is a spiritual look at addiction. After addiction, you will learn how to walk in God's liberty. When God calls you to walk in His liberty, He's calling you to set your life up in the direction to accomplish whatever your work here is on earth. You will be able to walk in God's liberty because there is no more addiction stopping you from living your best life. You may even wonder what power set you free, not realizing at first your prayers are being answered. When you're set free, you will have your power of choice back. Addicts will be able to choose not to use. It's at this point you must choose to surrender. You are surrendering your will, what you want for what God has for your life. Remember the quote, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." You must depend on God for everything, including the direction for your life. God does not set people free so they can live their life without Him and make their own decisions. God has a plan for your life. He has planted good seed in you and is waiting to pluck good fruit from you in the form of good works. Your higher power requires you to surrender. Surrender your will and allow Him to be the head of your life. This way, He can lead you toward restoration. You are choosing God's will over your life and your own will. Not choosing God is a good way to relapse because you cannot do it without Him. This is a spiritual look at addiction and a spiritual look at sobriety. Not every addict is instantly set free. If you're struggling in addiction, the most important thing you can do is open dialogue with God. Start with admitting that you need His help and that you are powerless over your addiction. Start talking and praying until this becomes a habit. So if you're an addict and you want to be set free, I urge you to open dialogue with God and your higher power. Seek His help and seek Him out until you know what God requires of you. Be encouraged. Help is on the way. Start to open dialogue right here, right there in your home. But go also to the house of worship, go to a meeting, and continue to fight for your sobriety until at the appointed time you are set free. Join me every Saturday at 2 p.m. Thank you for listening. Until then, I will be praying for you.